Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Swap Convention with a retro review of the Rambo series. Now, admittedly, yes, won't be a review of all the Rambo movies because, well, the fifth one comes out next week. Well, this coming Friday, I should say. So, yeah, I can't really review that one until this weekend. But what I can do is look back at First Blood, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, and Rambo. So, a few things. First off, growing up in the 80s, I knew who Rambo and Sylvester Stallone were. Never watched Rambo, or really any Stallone movies. I think the first Stallone movie I watched was probably Tango and Cash. I knew of other Stallone movies. I still to this day have not seen the Rocky movies either. Okay. Don't at me on that one. I'm sure at some point I'll decide I'll sit down and watch them. But yeah. So yeah, this is not the first time I watched the Rambo movie, any of the Rambo movies. Actually, a few years back on the first three were on Netflix, or at least the first three, possibly also the first. I don't remember though. Anyway, I watched the first one then proceeded to watch the next two. I nodded off during 2 and 3. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, but this time I sat down, watched them. Anyway, so let's start with First Blood. Movie started kick the franchise off. A few things to make note of, and this is something I didn't expect going into First Blood. The first time I watched it years ago, it's based on a novel First Blood by David Morrell. And in fact, Morrell would go on to write the novelizations for First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3. Also, Stallone was involved behind the scenes on, I think... Yeah, in one way or another on all four films. Co-writing the screenplay for First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3. And then co-writing the screenplay and directing the fourth one. So anyway, yeah. Moving on to the first one, First Blood. So, the cast of note, really, there are three characters that really who are truly important to the plot. Sylvester Stallone played as John Rambo. Brian Dennehy as Sheriff Teasel. And Richard Crenna as Colonel Samuel Troutman. Now, noteworthy is the fact that both David Caruso plays Mitch, one of the deputies, and Bruce Greenwood from the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, is also one of the National Guardsmen in this. Mitch, the character played by Caruso, he doesn't show up though after about the halfway point. So yeah, it's more oh, that's David Caruso. So it was kind of 1982, 10 years after the book was written, and it focuses on Vietnam War vet John Rambo. He's kind of drifting. He goes to visit a friend, and only learns that this friend of his from Nam got cancer from Agent O. Got cancer because of his time in Nam, and died the previous year. Can make his way, just trying to, you know, just trying to get by, and gets picked up in a small town in Washington, and sheriff makes it very clear he does not want Rambo in his town. Well, Rambo decides he doesn't care. So he just basically turns around, walks back towards town, and gets arrested for vagrancy, carrying concealed weapon. There's trumped up charges though. He's not doing anything. They just don't like him. But while he's being harassed by the cops at the station, shave, haircut, all that, hosed down, he has flashbacks to when he was a prisoner in Vietnam, and lashes out, and then escapes, running off into the woods. So they go after him. One of the deputies is killed accidentally. State troopers get brought in, National Guard gets brought in, and then Troutman shows up. They say, "Hey, this guy's really good, like really good. Like he can easily wade through your entire department. The fact that you're all still alive means that he at least realizes he shouldn't." And so maybe you should, let him go and become somebody else's problem. But yeah, sheriff ain't having it. So this leads to Rambo basically returning to the town, causing big enough disturbance to get everyone away from the station and facing the sheriff on his own. And then, but Trout was able to stop him from doing anything. What's really neat about it is the ambiguous nature of the story. I mean, normally something like this, the war hero stumbles into the small town and clashes with the cops. It's because the cops are crooked, and this guy could stumble onto their illegal enterprise. But no, the cops are just cops doing their job. Yeah, some of them go too far. Some of them go way too far. And the deputy that dies early on, he is trying to kill Rambo with a rifle while on a helicopter. So yeah, I mean, and then like I said, by the end he does attack the town. He destroys all manner of stuff just to cause distractions so that he can move around unnoticed. And he does very nearly kill the sheriff. And there's actually also an alternate ending where Rambo commits suicide by Colonel Troutman. Basically saying, "Hey, Colonel, kill me. I don't want them to." And Troutman refuses, and Rambo presses the point and basically forces him to. But yeah, and that interestingly enough, the footage of that was actually used in a dream sequence in the fourth movie. But yeah, it's a really interesting, it's this character drama that happens to have a lot of action in it. Overall, I gotta give it a 4 out of 5 rating wise. So, moving on to Rambo, First Blood Part 2. So, at the end of Rambo, at the end of First Blood, Rambo is taken into arrested and in custody. So, yeah, we get first off, our casted note. We've got, of course, Stallone and Crenna returning as Rambo and Troutman. Then Charles Napier is CIA operative Murdoch, running the operation that's basically the entire point of the movie. Steven Burkoff as Lieutenant Colonel Podolsky, Russian officer, basically the Russian nemesis for Rambo in this movie. Julia Nixon is Kobau. She is the liaison, basically the intelligence contact that Rambo has in Vietnam. Martin Kove of The Karate Kid, and I think also shows up in Cobra Kai as well, is Erickson, who is one of the troops at the base that Murdoch's operating out of. And then we got George Chung as Tay, who runs the PW camp that Rambo said to investigate. So, as for the movie, like I said, we begin with Rambo in prison after the events of First Blood. Colonel Troutman shows up, says, "Hey, there's a mission, and I thought you'd be perfect for it. So, if anything, at least get you out of here to do it for at least for a little while, and maybe get you reinstated, and we'll see about just making your departure from here permanent." Mission being to go into Vietnam, confirm or either get confirmation as to whether or not there are PWs still being held or not by the Vietnamese. Then Troutman will go in with a team to rescue them. Well, sadly, Rambo manages to get in, find out, oh, yep, they're PWs, and even tries to rescue one. But the extraction goes south, and Rambo gets captured and tortured by the Vietnamese troops and the Russians. After this, though, he manages to escape with the help of his intelligence contact, Kobau. He kills most of his pursuers, steals a helicopter, liberates and destroys the POW camp, blows up another chopper with a rocket launcher, gets the POWs back to the base he started from, and basically makes Murdoch shit himself before giving this just emotionally moving speech and walking away. When it comes comparing First Blood Part 2, First Blood is more of a drama, a character drama with with some action in it. This is an action movie, full on balls to the wall action movie. God, there's the whole thing with Rambo running around with explosive-tipped arrows, which is actually kind of cool. As a Hawkeye fan, I really love that. But anyway, I mean, they're so totally different. The character's still the same. I mean, he's very much, he's a vet. He doesn't like the way that he's been treated since returning from the war. He doesn't like the way that certain things were handled in the aftermath, and he wants to. What a big thing is, he actually asks Troutman at one point. Do we get to win this time? But yeah, like I said, the speech he used at the very end is so great. Overall, I gotta give it a 3.5 out of 5. I mean, it's still good. It's just compared to First Blood, there's some important stuff there, but it's it's one of those where okay, yeah, we get it. Um, like I said, it's very much just an '80s action movie. Moving on to Rambo 3. Rambo 3, let's see, so the cast of note here. First off, the big thing here is Rambo kind of transitions from his own personal war when it comes to, the aftermath of Vietnam to what at the time was the the Ru- the Russians and the Afghanis in Afghanistan, or in the waning days of the Cold War. So again, Rambo, Stallone and Crenna come back as Rambo and Troutman. This time we got Mark de Jong as Colonel Zason, the Russian commander. Kurtwood Smith is Griggs. He's a he works with the U.S. consulate or the U.S. embassy in Thailand. He also is the one who passes along. He's only in the movie for 2 scenes. I don't know, 3 lines of dialogue. Yeah. Next up, we've got Spiros Fokas as Masood, Sason Gabay as Musa, Dowdy Shah as Hamid, and Randy Rainey as Korov. Also, should be noted that Masood was actually inspired by a real life freedom fighter from that era who continued on trying to you know continued on basically trying to unite, basically bring everyone in Afghanistan together and peacefully. But apparently he was the man that the character was based on was assassinated. I want to say the early part of the century. He stood against the Taliban. Various yeah. Anyway, so Rambo 3 plot. Rambo's living in a monastery in Thailand, doing underground fights for money, which he gives to the monks at the monastery. Troutman comes and says, "Hey, I'm going to Afghanistan. I'm, basically, I'm going to be a military advisor to the Afghani rebels there. I'd love for you to come with me." And I was like, "Nah, I kind of like how things are for me right now, But Troutman kind of pushes a little bit more, but he's like, "Okay, you know what? Dave, that's fine. I'll go." So Troutman goes, gets captured, and then Griggs comes and informs Rambo, "Yeah, so Troutman got captured, and there's nothing we can do about it because we weren't officially there." And so Rambo just kind of like, "Okay, well, you can send me in." "No, we can't." "Okay, send me in unofficially." "Okay, we can do that." So yeah, he goes in, hooks up with the freedom fighters, rescues Troutman, blows up so much stuff. Destroys a chopper with an explosive tipped arrow. An attack helicopter. And you think, well, yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, it's official. Hawkeye's a Rambo fan. Much like with First Blood Part 2, the movie is more centered on the action than the plot. Or rather, the plot revolves around the action. It's not terrible. It's just meh. So yeah, overall rating I gotta give it a 3 out of 5. Anyway, so it would be 20 years. Okay. Yeah, 20 years before the next Rambo movie would come out. In part just because Stallone was waiting on the right script. So he ended up co-writing, or at least the right idea, I should say, which then he capitalized, which then he co-wrote the screenplay and ended up directing. Yeah, so Rambo. First off, as always, our cast of note. We got Stallone as Rambo, of course. Julie Benz as Sarah Miller. Matthew Marsden as Schoolboy. Grant McTavish as Lewis. Ronaldo Gallegos as Diaz. Jake LaBasse as Reese. Schoolboy, Lewis, Diaz, and Reese are all members of a mercenary team. Sarah Miller and Michael Burnett, who was played by Paul Schultz, are some of the missionaries. And you've got Tim Kang, who is their guide, the mercenaries' guide, and Mong Kin as Tint, the main villain. Interesting point of fact, apparently Kin was actually fought with the rebel group in Burma that is the rebels in Burma who are standing against the oppressive government, now Myanmar. And he, in taking the role, he said he was afraid that because of taking the role that his family would be retaliated against, but he still took the part. Okay, so the plot. Rambo was now a riverboat captain, snake wrangler, and blacksmith in Thailand. And he's hired to escort a group of missionaries into Burma. They then get promptly captured. And then so the church that sent the missionaries hires a group of mercenaries to go rescue the missionaries. Yeah. And they want Rambo to take them to, just take us where you drop them off at. So they get there, Rambo just gets off the boat, grabs his gear, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm going with you. And at first they say no, they will go off to the village where the missionaries were captured from, which is it's a very it's not an easy. Both sequences in the village all the sequences in the village were not easy to watch. But yeah, Rambo ends up saving the mercenaries. And so they then go to the or a military encampment where child soldiers are recently captured, or child soldiers are being trained. Terrible things are being done to female prisoners, female prisoners, male prisoners in general. Different types of terrible things depending upon the prisoner, but yeah. But so yeah, they saved 3 of the missionaries. However, during everything, Rambo, Sarah, and Schoolboy get split off from the rest of the group, and so they then have to fight their own way through the jungle. Make their own way through the jungle. Sadly, by the time the bulk of the mercenaries and the missionaries make it to the boat, they're ambushed by the Burmese forces, and just as they're about to get executed, Rambo basically shows up, saves the day, and Schoolboy also. Rambo and Schoolboy save the day, and it becomes a horrifically brutal fight. You got Rambo shooting people from a vehicle-mounted 50 cal, and the movie does not flinch about. This is what a vehicle-mounted 50 cal does to a person. Also, Schoolboy, the sniper, uses a Barrett M82, and yeah, he uses it very well. And again, the movie does not flinch when it shows what that does. Yeah, they're all said and done. They get back up. They get back on the boat. They head back home. Well, head back to Thailand, and everyone goes to their respective homes, including Rambo, who, at the end of the film, is approaching family farm in Bowie, Arizona. Dressed almost identical to how he was dressed in the beginning of First Blood. They bring the series full circle. It's kind of more they could have ended it there, but in all honesty, I had to admit to being curious as to the family that is waiting on him. So yeah, so overall, I gotta say that this felt as being much more in line with First Blood. David Morrell, who wrote First Blood, the novel, actually said, of the sequels, this is his favorite because this is the one, it felt, the character of Rambo felt true, most like the character he wrote in this. Yeah, so overall, I gotta say this one gets a 4 out of 5. Later this week, it'll either be on Friday or Saturday. I'll be posting up my review of Rambo: Last Blood after I go see it. Also up this week, we've got Ad Astra. Possibly, if it's playing at the theater I frequent, possibly Free from Hell. If Free from Hell is going to be playing, I will be doing a retro review on House with 1,000 Corpses and Devil's Rejects as well. So we'll just have to see Tuesday how that's looking. Anywho, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I put new content. And as always, this is Rock on Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.